So, hello and welcome everyone to Harwell Circle. So, today we will be seeing what actually is financial planning and what is this 9 point action plan, what all we know, what all is there in the financial planning, and what all we need to take care while planning our finances and how to take care of our financial well being. We are always concerned about money, but it is also a great way to manage our money, track our money, and know our goals and everything that we will be talking. So yes, so let's see what is this 9 point action plan, and each and everyone should know about it and just not know and implement in their life to get the better result financially. So what is exactly the financial well-being? So financial well-being is a state of being wherein a person is making the most efficient use of financial resources. We all have money and resources, but we don't have that much we can do everything, each and everything. There is always more desires than whatever we are having. So financial planning help us in utilizing our whatever our resources are in the efficient ways, for which by like planning and using and where to invest, by all this knowledge we can feel the satisfaction and security. Okay, we are doing in going in the right direction, and we are able in the position to absorb any financial shocks. So how we do that, we will be going in further, like doing the emergency fund planning, buying the insurance. And there are uncertainties in life, but how can be assure okay our financial life is going to be smooth? So financial planning is also one of the way by which you can prepare yourself, and you will be in a position to absorb any financial shocks, or you will be knowing are you on a track for meeting current and future financial goals. When we do the financial planning, goal planning is very important. Whatever our short term, long term goals are, when we know the goals, we know the clarity, we know the road ahead where we want to go, so we can track our progress as well. And when we track and when we know the things, then we will be having the feeling of satisfaction and peace about our financial life. So it's mostly same with whatever we are learning in life coaching. Okay, in life we are doing the goal setting and we are reaching, we are when we do the goal setting, we are having the target and it's easy to achieve that. Same is with the financial planning. When we know our goals, when we know our target where we want to reach, then how will come to you. So in the 9 point action plan, first step is save before you spend. Most of the time, whatever income we are getting, we are spending. Okay, we feel this is necessary, this is necessary. Most of the things are necessary. Even our wants are also necessary. We want the luxury also in our life. Everything is necessary. But you should, there is one thumb rule 50-30-20. That is 50% you plan for your need, 30% for your want, and at least 20% should be going in your saving. There are more concept like 6 jar concept that I will be teaching later. But for now, this thumb rule is also like very good. Whatever you are earning currently, you should target at least 20% you are saving every month. So there are many techniques that we will be covering in how to, this I actually have covered, but this is one of the main or I think important concept I will be covering in the coming session in more detail about it. So just let me know who are the spender, saver, or investor. So spenders are your, if your expenses are more than your income, then you are a spender. If you are saving some of the money, whatever you are earning, you are a saver. But you are just saving it. You are not investing it. Your money is not working for you. You are not getting any return on it. And investor is if your returns are greater than inflation actually. If you are saving in like just saving account, your money is there, you can't say it is invested, it is growing. So investment is where your returns are beating the inflation. So you can unmute yourself and tell me if you are a spender, saver, or investor, which category you fall in, or you can just type in the chat box whatever is comfortable for you. So Yes, see, very good investor. Vaishali is a saver, and Aarti and Shubha. Okay, good that we don't have the spenders. So savers in my community is going to be investors soon. So then there are good liabilities and bad liabilities. Bad liabilities are not loans, but generally we consider some of the investment that we do as an investment for our future, for our financial freedom. But we need to understand whatever we are doing investment also, if we are investor or savers, whatever our investment is where your money is increasing, and you can take out the money whenever you want for your some of your goals. Like if you have bought a house or a car, that is not your investment assets. You won't be selling that for any of your goals, for your child's education, for marriage, for any other things. So you need to understand the difference between the good liabilities and the bad liabilities, or I would not say bad liabilities. It's like a use assets, your investment assets and your use assets. So use assets give us luxury, satisfaction in our life, but we need to clearly have the difference between them. Why we are buying them. Our intention should be why we are buying them. It's not like good or bad, but our intention matter. Like if we are buying a gold jewelry, like I bought a gold necklace, so I would be thinking in my mind it is an investment for my future. But uh, I would not be selling it for sure for my kids' education or any of the things. If I had to sell my jewelry for any of my goals, I will be feeling very bad. So this is not, this is the need of understanding what is the investment and what is like our use assets. So jewelry, whatever we buy are not investment. These are the use assets. You can buy them, but you need to have the clarity why you are buying it. So that is the important distinction, knowing we are buying that for our future goals or for increasing in the value and not for our use. So then second thing is park aside an emergency fund. That is really very important. And most of the time when we are doing investment, we feel, okay, all the money should grow. Why should I keep some of the money in cash or in saving account or in FD or some safe investment? So many people do this mistake. They just put all the money in stock market. Many a times some people are just putting in the saving account or FD. Some people are just investing in crypto or equity. So both ways are not correct. You need to have a balance. You need to create an emergency fund. Emergency can come in anybody's life at any point of time. So you need to have at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses plus EMIs in your emergency fund. That should be a liquid fund. Whenever you need, you can take out the money from that. So emergencies can be job loss, unplanned or non-negotiable, some medical emergencies. So anything can happen to anyone. We are not some god. Even with God also some of the problems happens. So we are to only human. So it's very important to plan for emergencies. Just thinking that nothing bad will happen, that is good. But plan for the worst. And most of the time I have seen if we plan, nothing bad happens. Like we do the proper, even like in medical, we are just going to the doctor every year. We are just maintaining our health. Nothing bad will happen. So just for that sake also, if you think, it is good to have the planning for our emergency. So ideally 6 months of expenses and 6 months or 12 months of EMIs. That should be in your liquid fund. It should not be parked in equity. And before like thinking of growing your money, we need to have a cushion for our emergencies. So you can do it in saving, FD, liquid mutual fund, or you can keep it in cash. Some of the money, not like whole. And then third action plan is buying a term or life insurance policy. This is also important, and I think most of us are doing. Matlab, even our husband, like you are not earning, your husband may be doing it. And in this, the important thing is not just buying a policy, but knowing how much should be the value of our insurance policy. Is it matlab, do we need just 10 lakh or 1 crore, 2 crore? You need to have the value in mind. How much insurance is enough for your family? So those who are earning are recommended to buy the insurance for all your future expenses, for loans and goals, so that those who are dependent on us does not suffer in case anything happens to us. So thumb rule is 10 times of your annual income. This is just for a reference, but just an overview so that you can check. But when we do the real planning, there are a lot many methods that we follow to find out the right amount, because based on your expenses, based on your lifestyle, based on your future goals and expenses, how much dependent people are on you and what you want for them to plan. But here I've just, because we can't go for everything in much detail here. So just thumb rule is at least 10 times of your annual income should be planned for the life insurance. And you can buy a life insurance or term insurance policy, but better is to buy a term insurance that is like in very less cost. And we should never, I feel we should never mix insurance with investment. You will not be getting the best of both the things. If you are managing, you will not be getting the return that you want, and you will not be getting the coverage that you want. So I feel it is best to buy a term insurance, and I think in just 12,000 you will be getting coverage for 1 crore rupees. So I feel currently we are also having that. So it's best to buy a term insurance. And if you can't do this investment, you feel it's hard for you to just doing this investment, then you can go for the life insurance as well. So if you are, you can save on taxes as well, and your money will be growing at 5-6%. So and next is buy a health insurance. As with life, health is also very important. And many a times, and especially in COVID, we have seen many families suffering because of not having a health insurance policies. And now actually for women, I have seen like breast cancer is also increasing. So cancer cover is also like one of the things that we should consider buying. That is some separate thing, but a general health insurance policy you must be having. And for a person now, I feel at least for a family of 4, at least you should have a coverage of 5 to 10 lakhs. Because now you can see expenses are just going high and high, and most of the hospitals are charging a huge sum. So you need to be protected, because these are the incident where you're like all the planning, whatever you have earned can go in vain. Whatever you have saved and everything. So it's best to be prepared and having some of the expenses for our insurance. So yeah, I hope we are clear till now. If anyone has question, you can unmute and ask or give me a thumbs up. So health insurance is 5 to 10 lakh of family floater you should consider. And for parents, create medical emergency fund, or you can include your parent in your health insurance as well. And there are tax benefit as well. What for buying health insurance, you can take mediclaim, critical illness, personal accident. So these are just some of the riders that you can add with your health insurance. And then the fifth point is diversify asset. And diversify after providing for all these things, for your emergencies, for your life insurance, and for your health insurance. Then you think of asset allocation, and whatever income or whatever saving is left, then you think of investing. And then diversify your investment. You can do the investment in real estate, gold, equity, FD. And these are the risk and return. When you are taking the more risk, you will be getting the more return. It is directly proportional to that. Like if you are having cash, there is very less risk. If you are doing FD, there is also less risk. Gold, and then real estate, and then equity. The price and returns vary according to it. And these are the 37 years of performance of Sensex. Like FD has grown at 8.3%, silver has grown to 9% per annum, gold to 10, and Sensex has grown with 16%, and Sensex with diversified sectors has grown at 16%. So if you have invested 1 lakh, so your 1 lakh would have become 19.7 lakh in 37 years. Your 1 lakh would have become 24 lakh if you have invested in silver. Your 1 lakh would have become 36.5 lakh if you have invested in gold. And your 1 lakh would have become 2.5 crore if you have invested in just Sensex index fund. Or if you have diversified, your 1 lakh would have become 4.7 crores. This is just some of the data that I have taken from the net. And the sixth step is start investing for retirement. Don't wait for it. And retirement doesn't mean that we won't be working anymore. Retirement means here is we are having the financial freedom. We don't need to work. It's not the compulsion ki I need to work for my food, for my clothing, for my basic needs. So retirement is basically generally when we talk about retirement, it's like the age of retirement 60 or 65. But now most of the people we are talking about the financial freedom, at what age you are talking about. And financial freedom is not not worrying about our necessities in our life. We are well provided for the necessities of our life, and we should start investing as early as possible for that. And generally this is like how people look at 30 to 60. I will be working after 60 to 90 is my retirement life. I will see that. But I feel you should look at it like 31. You have to save for your 61. And now actually life expectancy has increased. So I think 90 is a good number to think, to have the fund. If it's more, you can have always pass on to your kids and that will be part of your estate. So 1 year you should think of your working life as you are saving for 1 year of your retirement life. And when you will be saving, it will be taken care. When you invest, it will take care of the inflation as well. So I really like it ki just thinking ki 1 year of your current expenses, you should plan for your retirement. You should invest that much for retirement life. I hope this is clear. So moving next is start saving for future goals. Why should we do the goal planning, goal setting? Financial goal is the first step toward achieving financial stability and security. It involves identifying your financial priorities. The main word is here the priorities. We need to identify our financial priorities. Actually, in life, we have so many things, so many wants, needs, desires that we want, but we need to prioritize on it. Based on that, we can plan our investment and our financial life. And then we need to create a plan and take actionable step to reach the desired outcomes. So why we set the financial goal? To get the clarity. Financial goals provide a clear direction or purpose for your financial decisions. If you are saving something, why you are saving something? Many a time we feel now I want to go for a vacation or I want to do this, that. So many things are there. But when you have your financial plan, your goals, so you will be seeing how much you are having and what all are your plans for your future, and is it good to, and where we should invest our money or where we should spend. Do we have the spare money, or can we wait for 1 year or 2 year before doing some of the spending? So we will be getting the clarity by setting our financial goals and by doing our financial planning. Motivation, we will be having the motivation. Why? Because when we know our why, we will be clear why we are doing what we are doing. So reaching your goal can inspire you to continue making smart financial choices, and you will be accountable. Setting goal keep you accountable and on track with your financial plan. And then security. Achieving your financial goals can ultimately lead to greater financial security and peace of mind. So you will be secure because you know where you want to go, and when you will reach there, you will be having a sense of pride, security, and freedom. So goals, we do planning for the short term, medium term, and long term. Short term goals are like from now to till 2 year goals. We share the short term goals like creating emergency fund if we are having any credit card loans. So because these are the high interest rate charging thing, so we need to pay off that. Buying a phone or some gadget we want to buy, any vacation or any new learning. So these are some of the examples I have taken for the short term. And your medium term goal could be saving for down payment on a house, child education, buying a car, international vacation, or anything. The main thing here is the time duration. It's between 3 to 7 year, and anything beyond 7 year is called long term, like your retirement, your child's university education, child's marriage, buying some rental property, investing for the passive income. We need to actually classify this is the important thing, because based on this we do our asset allocation that we will teaching in some other session. So I would request each one of you to have some of the goals written, your short term, your medium term, and long term. At the end of the session, I will also be sharing one goal prioritization sheet. So you can use that, or you can just make yours on also. You can use the tool, or you can just write it down on a paper also. That is also fine. By doing just this exercise, you will be feeling great. And after writing down, just put the timeline, okay, how much year you want it to go. Can you repeat? I didn't get. Can you type in the chat box? I'm not able to clearly hear what you are saying. Okay. When I was telling, okay, you need to write it on the tool that I will be giving you, or you can write on a sheet of paper. You can write down your short term, medium, and long term goals, and then you decide the time, how much time is there to reach this goal, and then you give the amount also. How much time or how much money you are needing. Like, say for emergency fund, how much fund you need? For down payment, how much fund you need? Or for your retirement expenses, how much fund you need? For your child education, how much money in today's term you will be needing? Just think of today's term. Get the clarity first for the today's term, then we will be calculating for the future later. So the thing that I explain are called the SMART goals. SMART is like specific, define your goal in clear and precise terms, measurable, quantify your goal so that you can track your progress, like giving your goal an amount. Like if you have written the vacation, how much amount you are giving, 10,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 50,000. So that is, you can measure your goal. Achievable, set goals that are challenging but realistic based on your current financial situation. So it should not be like, okay, child's education, I am putting the fund of like 1 crore, but right now my financial resources are not so much. So we need to set it to the realistic term, and in future we can review them. And relevant, ensure your goal align with your overall financial priorities and life plans. Time bound, assign a specific deadline or time to achieve your goals. This is so important. And eighth is do tax planning, tax saving. So many times there are so many things we just forget to do some of the things. And if we just do this part, we will be saving a lot more and you will be having more money in your hand. And ninth, and the most important, is participate and take charge of the money matter. As a woman, we take the back seat when it comes to money matters. So I request each one of you who are attending, I'm so grateful and I'm so proud that you are willing to take charge of your money matter. It's not about the ability. We as a women, we can do anything, whatever we put our mind to. It's just a matter of willingness, whether we are willing to do it or not willing to do it. So I'm so happy and proud of each one of you, those who are attending the session and really taking the charge of the money. And here, why importance of a financial advisor in your life. As I would love, as much as I love for you to learn financial planning on your own, but I would also like to share the importance of financial advisor in your life, because we are having so many roles, so many things. We just can't do everything. Knowing gives us the advantage how and when we should take the decision, and how to plan in a better way. Even if we are consulting or not consulting, that is one different thing. But you can also become your financial advisor. Just know what all qualities you would need. So your financial advisor help you to avoid investments and financial mistakes that if you are not having the knowledge, you can make. And financial advisor can help you develop a deeper and bigger and clear picture about your financial life. So many times we just feel, okay, this is the thing I want. We just think of short term. We don't think of long term. Or either we just think of child's education or our retirement. We don't think of the long term perspective. So financial planner just gives the overall perspective. And financial advisor help you articulate your goals and clear investment objectives. Helps you to stay invested, avoid panicking, and sleep in peace even in volatile market. Like past 2 days when one report came, stock market went 7% down, and if you don't know much about it, you will be worried okay, okay, my money is going down, what is happening? So when financial advisor is there, you can just go to them and check whether I should review, what should I do. So you will be at peace, okay, my financial advisor is there to help me and stay with you till all your goals and investment objectives are met. Financial advisor is just not a one-time job. It is like continuous relationship that is built over the years. And the financial advisor stays with you till all your goals and investment objectives are met. It is not a one-time job. I have done the investment and it is done. It's a lifelong relationship. And the financial advisor also educates and empower you and your family members to always stay in control, because when we are doing the planning, we know where we are going wrong and what we need to do. So we will be on track and provide unbiased recommendations, second opinions, and address blind spots if any. So thank you guys. If you have any questions, you can ask.
मैंने लास्ट में ज्वाइन किया.
No problem, dear. I have recorded session today, so I will share the recording. You just message hi on my WhatsApp number. So I will share the recording.
Okay. Thank you.
So if any one of you have any question, we can go through that. And this is actually the goal setting tool that I will be sharing in the chat box. You can download it and use it. So here you have to write your short-term goals and you have to write the priority also. You can take a screenshot if you want to write on a paper. You can do that as well. So here you have to read your needs. Needs are your high priority. You can't negotiate on your needs. Like if you need this thing, emergency funding or for your needs are actually non-negotiable things. Then comes your wants and then comes your dreams. So whatever money we have, first we need to plan for needs, then for wants, then for dreams. And then here comes our medium-term goal and then long-term goal. And this is the list of goals some I have written, and you can actually add more goals to this list. And after this, you can calculate the future value of money. You have to, whatever goals you have written, you have to write your goals here. And then the fund required as of today, what you feel. And then you have to write inflation. Okay, take a 5%, 10%, any amount you can take. And then you have to write the time from now, from today. Like if I have written the education, so my son will be going to college after 11 years. So you have to write the time. So I have put the formula here. Your future value will be coming. So you will be knowing, okay, अभी मुझे लग रहा है I need 10 lakh, but after 11 years, it will be almost 30 lakhs. For my second son, I have written 10 lakh in today's term, and the 10 lakh will be 50 lakhs after 17 years when he will be reaching the education. For the same level of education, he will be needing that much amount. So by this exercise, we will be like getting to know actually what actual amount we need. Many a times we don't realize how much amount we need. It's just the numbers, and with this planning and all, you will get to know all these things. So I will be sharing this here in the chat box. You can download this. Or if you have any questions, you can ask me. The meeting is going to end in some time. Okay, 0.5. Okay, let me just share the document.
Hello, Shweta.
Yes. Hi, dear.
I I need to ask one question. As my husband is working, he is
Okay.
having a health insurance policy from his office, obviously. So, do I need to buy another one also for a personal purpose, or that is okay?
Actually, it's always recommended to have your own insurance policy. Even if you are even same is with me, my husband is working, he's having a good insurance policy, but now we are considering to buy another one. The problem doesn't come here. Like, let's say if your husband is keep working in the same company, he's not losing job,
Yeah,
everything is fine, everything is good, and
yeah,
it will
correct.
just assume everything will be good. So when you
Yeah,
reach the age of 60, when you go to buy a health insurance policy, if you are having some of the illness, then then you will not be getting the health insurance. That is the major disadvantage of depending on the company's health insurance.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's better to buy a separate one for personal purpose, health
Yes,
insurance.
yes, yes.
Okay,
And actually, what we are doing, we are just let me just share the tool so that you can download. Then I will tell some of the thing.
yeah, thank you.
So you can use this tool, or you can just write on your notebook, whatever is comfortable. And when you do this, do share with me as well. So I will also provide
Okay,
the feedback. Or if you have any issue using this tool, you can always ask me.
okay,
So for your question, I was just saying ki, like suppose your husband is having like 5 lakh insurance from the company. Okay, so you
okay,
can buy separate insurance, or you can buy a separate top-up insurance with a
okay,
deductible of 5 lakh. So in future also you will be knowing ki maximum 5 lakh coverage you need to have for yourself. So your expenses would
okay,
not go anytime above 5 lakh. So you will be having the protection above 5 lakh. And that actually comes in very cheap rate. Like my husband has taken, I think 3,000 or 4,000 he's paying for a 25 lakh of super top up
okay,
with 5 lakh deductible. Like 5 lakh you have to pay, either your base policy will pay, like if you are matlab, your husband is working, so his office policy will pay 5 lakh, and over and above whatever expenses will be there, like 20 lakh more, that will be covered by the super top up. So in case your husband is not in the job, or is with the company who is not having health insurance, or after retirement, if you feel you are not able to get the insurance, so then this super top up will be there. But
okay,
5 lakh you have to arrange. So you can see 5 lakh you want deductible, or 2 lakh you want as a deductible. So then actually premium becomes very less. So matlab,
oh,
whatever I have analyzed, so for me I felt like a super top up is good rather than going with another insurance, because his office insurance is good. So I felt ki, okay, till 5 lakh we will plan. Matlab 5 lakh we will do some other investment till 5 lakh, and if some emergency comes, so I can take out from that rather than paying 50,000 for an policy.
what you are saying ki on that policy which the company is providing, on that we have to